Hello and welcome to another video. So in last video we learned how to create a quiz model and add details to it and show it to our home page, right? Now along with this, what we will do is we will add questions to this quiz model, right? Now if we again go back to our database, which is this, we have created quiz table. That part is done. Great. Now second thing is we need questions. Okay, we will go to users also. Eventually we will go to that also. But now we want to add questions and we want to map them with our quizzes also. Okay. So by the way, there are okay. Let's start with this first. Okay. So if you remember from the last video, we need generators to create models. So we will create a model for this first. So let's do that. I'll stop the server, clear this. Okay. Questions, right? So Rails is the main command. In this, we have generators. So we will use G for that. What do we want to generate? We want to generate a model. Okay, great. What should be the name of that model? So model name is equivalent to table name. Okay, we want to generate model for question. So let's write question. Okay, it will automatically convert that to questions and whatever multiples it needs. So prefer writing this in singular. Okay. So question. What all things do we need? So ID is something that we saw in last video. It will give out on its own, and timestamp which is created and updated it will give out on its own. So let's focus on option title, option A, option B, option C, and option D. So title, great. Or title is equivalent to question. It's just that my model name is question, and that's why I'm not naming it. Uh, okay. So in title, it is text. Let's give it text. Okay. Title is text. Option A is text. Option B is text. Option C is text. I could have used a string also for option A, B, C because I know they will be a bit smaller, but I'm keeping it text only. Option D will be text. Okay. Now, does this include anything else? No, because we have kept questions to be very independent so that we can use same question in multiple quizzes if we want to. Okay, that's why we have this separate mapping and this question ID is not getting used here. Okay, so let's generate this. Great, it has created a database file and a model file. Let's check them. So this is the question. Great. And sorry, I'll stop this. Great. And this is our model. Great. It looks fine to me. So let's migrate this. Okay. So for migration, we use Rails DB migrate. Clear. Now we can go to Rails console to add some details. Rails console. We'll create a UI for adding questions and everything around that also. But right now we don't have that UI and that's why we are doing it here. Rails console. What is the model name? Okay. Model name is question. Okay. So let's use that question dot. Obviously, if I write all, it will be an empty array. We don't have any questions. And if we check quiz dot all, we can see there are 3 quizzes already. Okay. So I'll write, okay. I'll write question dot create. Okay, now I'll use this bang operator. I haven't explained this in last video so that I was not trying to complicate things. I wanted to keep things simple. But this bang operator, what it makes sure is that if there's any error in our entry, this bang operator will make sure that it doesn't get executed fully and it will give us like it's a bang, it's a big error sort of things. And the transaction will fail fully. Okay, sometimes what happens is that your query can get executed partially and after that we get an error. And if we don't use the bang operator, that partial query will get successful. We don't want that. Okay, so let's use title. What is the capital of India? Let's use option A, Delhi. Even I'm confused, Delhi or New Delhi, but I think New Delhi is the correct one. Option B, okay, I think, okay. So we have kept correct answers in a separate column and we already decided why we want to keep it like this, which is good. Option B will be, what should be option B? Option B can be Ahmedabad. Option C can be Goa. Ahmedabad is a city, but it's fine. Okay, we are not checking the correctness here. And option D can be, let's say, Kolkata. Again, another city, not a state. Do we need anything else? No. Let's enter this. And we have this entry. Great. Let's create another question. And in this, let's keep option D and C null. Let's see if it works. I'll get rid of everything actually. Are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Option A, yes. Option B, no. Let's see if it got executed, and option C and option D were nil, which is great. Okay, it's fine. Now, we have added the question. We haven't added the correct answer. So let's create another model, correct answer. Let's exit this. Oh, yes, we can exit this. Clear. Rails, generate model. Correct answer, right? So we need correct answer. I'm not fully sure if using underscore is the correct convention, but I would rely on Rails because generally Rails is smart enough to figure out these things. If it doesn't do anything correctly, we will revert that and fix it. Okay. Uh, it needs a question ID and correct option. So for question ID, we are basically referencing it from the questions table. So we will have to use references, 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 the model name, which is a question. Okay, so basically this correct answer model takes a reference from question, and on its own it will automatically make sure that it's a question ID only, because generally when you are using referencing, you use foreign key which is a unique ID only. You don't copy paste the values and all those kind of things, right? So references question, and we need to use correct option also. So correct option, I could have used correct answer also, but I think using correct option is a bit easier. uh, Correct option, let's keep it. I'm just thinking how I will save it. When I'm creating a new question, I will have a UI in which I can type the question. I can type four options or two or three, whatever I want, and I'll click on one of these as a correct answer and I'll submit it. Once it gets submitted, all the data will get passed and it can be the index. Okay, so I'll use integer only. Let's enter. Could not generate references. So I've written references incorrectly. No worries. I might not remember this. So let's go to Rails, generate model. Okay, so that we can see the documentation. And inside model, let's try to find something. So this, migration, this, no. I just want to find the references word if there is any. References. You can also consider references. Okay, but okay, I have to write question first and then references. Great. Let's use that. So as a developer, you should not be worried about if I'm writing something wrong. Okay, even if you write something wrong, you can figure it out via Google search or anything, and you can easily fix it. These are the things that you should learn from these videos instead of commands, code, and all those things. You should learn how to write code and not be afraid about it. Let's see if it works. Great, it worked. So simple. Uh, Great. Let's see. This is the latest migration file. It has a question. It is null, false. Okay, by default, each correct answer should have a question ID with it. So basically, it's null, false. I'll also write null, false here also. This we could have done for other things also, like title and all those things, which we can do in future migrations. It's not important if we haven't done it right now. Okay. Do we have a model for this? So let's see. I think correct answer. But this model, okay. So it has automatically mentioned that correct answer. C is capital, A is capital, there is no underscore. So overall, it's a good thing. Okay. Now, and what is the table name? Table name is correct answers. All good. So let's migrate this. I'm happy with this generated file. Rails Rails DB. We are working with database, so database migrate. Clear. Rails console. Now what I will do is, for one of the questions that I have, I will add correct answer. Now I have only two answers. So first I'll try to add a wrong or incorrect answer, which is we don't have ID third. So let's try to add ID third first. So for that, what I will do is correct answer dot create, again a bang operator. Now I'll have to use what do I want to use, or what is the model schema. So it has, let's go to schema. It has a question ID and correct option. Other things are not important because they are getting generated automatically. So question ID and correct option. Let's use question ID. And I'll use question ID as 10, which I know doesn't exist. That's one thing. Second, correct answer, correct option. Sorry. And for that, we can use 4. 4 is way too much. 0, 1, 2, 3. I'll use 0, 1, 2, 3. So 2, let's say. Enter. And we can see a rollback. Validation failed because question must exist. And we know that for 10 question ID, there is no question. So you see how it helped us in making sure that if you are using foreign key, it must exist in the database. So let's clear this. Exit, clear, Rails console. Great. Right now, by the way, we need to write some code in various models also, but right now I'm not focused on that. I'm following this chain of thought that let's create models, database migrations and all. Okay. So let's keep our focus on that only. So now we'll add a correct answer. Let's go to question.all so that we can see all the questions. For the first one, the correct answer is option A, which index will be 0. So we'll write correct answer dot create dot question question underscore ID. Question ID is 1, which is this. Okay. And along with that, we can write correct option is 0. Enter, and we can see it got successfully executed. That's great. It worked. Now, let's do the same thing for second also. So for second, we will change this to second. And what is the correct option in this? I'm assuming you are subscribed. If you haven't, please subscribe. Otherwise, this entry will become invalid. I want to enter 0 so that option A is yes. So make sure that you are subscribed to this. Enter, and again it got executed. Clear. Not clear. Okay. So now I want to try out something. Question dot find 1. Great. Now if I use question dot find 1 again, dot title, I can use the title and show it here. Great. Now I want something like this for answer also. Okay. I want to show dot answer. Question dot find 1 dot answer or correct option, which doesn't exist. Okay, we cannot use it because although they have been connected, but we have to mention that in models also. Right now, I'm not doing that. We'll do that in future. When we go through all these models, we'll think of them together. Or maybe, yes, we'll think of them together actually. So this is a very simple thing that we did. We added questions also and correct answer also. Let's do another thing. Let's see this mapping. Okay, quiz question mapping. Let's exit, clear, Rails, generate, model, quiz, question, mapping. This is not the best word for a table, best name for the table, but I'll still keep it. Okay. Uh, Now we already know from our earlier mistake that I have to use references next. But what are the references? So it has a quiz ID and question ID, which means it depends upon a quiz and a question. So I'll use quiz references question references. Enter. Let's see. Quiz question. Great. Title, no. This is the latest migration. Quiz is not null. Question is not null. Great. What is the schema? Obviously, we don't have a schema because we'll have to do this migration. Rails DB migrate. And now we can see this quiz question mapping, quiz ID, question ID. Great. So let's connect quizzes with questions, or yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Rails console. If we want to connect two different things, first let's see quiz dot all dot plug. If I use dot all, it will show all the quizzes and all the details and everything. But I just want to focus on the IDs because IDs is important to me. Dot plug ID, which means that it will just show me IDs. 2, 3, 4. Great. Question dot all dot plug. Okay. I think I wrote by default, by mistake, I pressed enter. That's why. Question dot all dot plug ID. Enter. And we have ID 1 and 2. What I will do is for question 2, I'll map it to ID 1. For question 3, I'll map it to ID 2. And question 4 will have both of these. Okay. So mix of different questions and quizzes. So I'll use quiz question mapping dot create. I'm going in depth, that's why it might be boring at this stage. If I was creating a general video and not going in depth, I won't have done this again and again. I want you to follow these process and be comfortable with all these experiments. Okay. Don't worry if you break anything. Don't worry about that. Okay. Quiz question mapping, create quiz ID, and we'll use 2 for that. Question ID, and we'll use 1 for that. Enter. Great. Then we'll use quiz ID 3 and question ID 2. Great. Then we'll use quiz ID 4, question ID 1. Great. And same question ID 2. Exit. Clear. It can be any form of mapping. You don't have to worry about it. So basically we have added some basic details. We still have to figure out the models and everything, but now we have done the basic setup of the database. In next video, what I will do is we have all these 4 data tables. We don't have other 3 tables because they are dependent on user, but we have these 4 tables. Now what we will do is we'll try to use them correctly. For example, if I use quiz dot all questions, we should get all the questions for that. Or if I use question dot correct answer, I should get the correct answer for that. Okay, so all these things we will have to incorporate in our code, and for that we'll use models. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you in next video. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment, and if you have any doubt, feel free to reach out. That's it. Thank you. Bye bye.